Good afternoon. This is Shirley from Alaska, and I have used onions. I've been married for 52 years this month. Oh, and this is the month of my birthday, so 77, here I come. We use lots of onions, and I'm so glad. Onions is an alternative to garlic, but they're just not as strong. It works the same way, but the onions have a weaker action. When the plague was here in the United States after World War I, people would put garlic around their neck. And if they didn't have garlic, they put onions around their neck. And just the smell of it kept the virus away. And Stoney's grandma did it to all her 11 kids, except the baby that was 11 months old. And that was the only one that died of the virus because but she was scared to put something around its neck. It might choke itself. And this one doctor thought that he would try the old-fashioned remedy that his grandpa had told him about. He just sliced up a big onion, put it in a saucer, and placed it on the table by the man's bed, not where he could reach it or get any use of it, but just to inhale it. The next morning, the strep throat was gone, just from inhaling it and just from breathing it. That's all he did was breathe the onion, and he said it worked. Well, you got to remember, back in the old days, they didn't have as many doctors in hospitals as we, and they had to take care of themselves. If they did not take care of themselves, you was dead. And so I'm so thankful that God made these herbs, and some people found out about them, and other people thought they was just no-nos. But you got to think about it. If God made them, if you listen to the Bible, I have a Bible teaching on herbs. When you listen to the Bible, the first chapter talks about he made the herbs for man. And in Psalms, he made the herbs for the ministry of man. And ministry means it's for us to use. So I just tell people that we need to use this. Records in the ancient inscription of the Great Pyramid stated that the sum of 1,600 talents of silver was paid. And that 1,600 units of talents was paid for the onions was equal to about $5 million today, and it supplied the workers on the pyramid with onions, garlic, and radishes. While the pyramids was being built, the vegetables were said to supply being stamina, lots of energy from the amount they spent. You could get the idea that they consumed a lot. You might have to eat a lot of onions and a lot of radishes and a lot of garlic, but you got the energy from it and you didn't get sick. And that's the main reason why they kept on pushing onions and garlic down them. The people never got sick when they ate them. They ate the stuff. Now today, what do we push down people? Stuff that's like dairy products, mucus. It's loaded with mucus. Milk, loaded with mucus. And then that's where the virus gets a hold of it, and then you carry the sickness. In early Roman, a dozen fresh onions for each member of the family were strung hanging down from the ceiling. And they said it to attract diseases for all the members of the household. So everybody in the household, each member had 12 onions hanging down. But hey, they never got sick. So onions absorb toxins. And Egyptian men convinced the ladies that they would actually care most about them if they was protected by their beauty and their health. They gave them engagement gifts of necklaces of fresh onions. What would women do today if somebody gave you, they said they love you and they gave you a necklace of fresh onions? But this was big back then. And the women proudly wore the necklace, knowing that the men were protecting them by drawing the evil disease away into the onions. For protection after death throughout the unending eternity, the cavity of the body were filled with myrrh, anise, and onions. During the plague of the Middle Ages, it was also believed that you could hang a bunch of onions outside the door to absorb the infection and thus be saved. In the 1500s, the onions was used to heal gunshot wounds. In the 1579, Dr. Leyland told soldiers and peasants who labored from sunrise to sunset to eat onions every morning to maintain their health and resist infection. So, I mean, they worked most time 12 hours a day, hard work, and they was eating lots of onions because it kept the infection away. Now, I ask people when they come into the shop, do you know who General Grant is? And they go, no. I said, he was president? No, they never heard of him. Well, the older people do, but the ones from 30 on, 40 on, they said, we don't know who Grant is. Well, General Ulysses Grant refused to order his army into battle because the War Department did not send his onions. I did not know that. I will not move my armies without onions, he said. And he had found out that if they ate onions every day, if they got sick or if they got wounded, they wouldn't die because it would the onions that's in them would help kill the infection. And so he wanted onions for his men. And I just thought that was so excellent that, the General Lilly wanted to protect his people. And just a small thing like onions. A Culpeper said eating like an apple, onions eases the belly and the pain of the bowels. Roasted with honey, they relieve cough and help to expel tough phlegm. A French herbalist wrote that if you rub it on your teeth with onions every morning, you'll never have a toothache. An English herbal recommend the juice for a man who has lost his speech. Onions also thought be a sort of beautification. In Sweden, onions were especially famous for restoring beauty to the skin. It would restore hair if the hair follicles were still alive. Scientific studies have proven that onions kill germs, so the folks' practice of hanging onions in the room to prevent germs was what they did was great because they helped to save their life. Onions are said to help to bring up the most stubborn, thick phlegm. They clear the sinus and promotes free breathing. You can also cut an onion in half and put it on the bedside table so you can breathe in the smell during your sleep. Scientists says that eating goodly amount of garlic and onions can really stimulate the bowel production, lower the blood sugar, reduce hypertension, accelerate healing and colds. The results indicate that the routine onion consumption has beneficial efforts of maintaining blood fat at a lower normal level. And when I was reading that, I thought that was excellent because so many people come in here with a fatty liver, and I should stick them on raw onions, and it lowers the fat. But red yeast rice also takes the fat out of the blood, but onions lowers the fat. And I don't know how many people has walked in here, and even yesterday with mucus, they walked in here. I wish I had mucus, but I don't. Mine was from my operation on my leg. They put too much cords down my throat. Onions are said to keep blood sugar in check. When 20 diabetics ate the equal of a third cup of raw onions daily for a week, the blood sugar dropped to a significant extent. Onions also contains an enzyme to inhibit the slowdown of the growth of any cancer cells. Onions are eaten to help to get rid of allergies. For baldness, it is the hair roots, if they're still alive, 10 parts of onion juice, 10 parts of cod liver oil, and 5 parts of raw egg yolk. You beat it together and apply it once a week to the scalp. And it also helps children if they have they're not growing. If they will start eating raw onions, they will stop growing again. In China, the onions make a large proportion of the diet, from being eaten with rice, millet, bread, and together with green vegetables. It is used to treat high blood pressure and circulatory system. And back in the old days when we had these old cars, they used to put sliced onions in foil, and then they rubbed the onion back and forth on the inside and on the outside, and it didn't get steamed up, and so they can look out and see the window back. I can remember where it gets so steamed up I can look out the window of the car, and the onion would prevent it from getting steamed up. The historical use of onions it does coughs, it does croups, it does pneumonia, sore throats and strep, earaches and infection, bronchitis and whooping cough, the plague, and for disease prevention. It's an antidote for tobacco poisoning. It heals wounds, pain for inflammation, swelling of the lymphatic system. It clears the head of mucus. It's for baldness. It's for fainting. It's to lower blood sugar. It's for colic. It's for boils. It's for abscess. It's for warts. It's for headaches. It's for fungus and spleen enlargement. That's really good because people that has MS, when I went to down in Anchorage, my daughter that was living in Maryland, she took us to the place where this German came, and he took care of embalming people and everything, and he had a spleen there, and then he had a spleen of a person that had MS, and it was like 7 times bigger. It was an enlarged spleen from having MS. And right here it says it helps to stop the spleen enlargement. It makes it smaller. So if she was eating onions, she could have helped her spleen. To stimulate the growth of children, it helps with high blood pressure, circulatory problems. It helps to reduce pain, soreness, allergies. It prevents scarring. It kills bacteria, fungus, and worms, asthma and insomnia, wrinkles, crow feet, bags under the eyes. Well, I don't know if I would put onions under the eyes because they'd probably make you cry. For runny noses and sinus. The chemical breakdown: onions consist of water, protein, fat, carbohydrates, minerals, mainly potassium, calcium, and silica. I hope you enjoy your onions. It's better to eat them raw. If you can't eat them raw, then steam them. I really like them when they're steamed, but I'm getting so I can even eat them raw, and I used to couldn't do that. So you can help your body to increase health by eating raw food, because raw food is live food. When you cook it too much, it's dead food, and then your body has to try to break it down some way and somehow. And when we can't break it down, that's what causes the mucus. And especially with dairy products, you'll get lots of mucus. So the main thing is eat lots of raw vegetables. Have a great day.